Hi, it's Terry again from the Builderall team, and in today's training video, we're going to talk about the tablet and mobile adjustments to our website. In our training video today, we're going to learn all about adjusting website settings for mobile devices. We're going to customize for tablet. We're going to create a burger menu for our mobile view, and we're going to customize for mobile devices. So we've got a lot to learn, so let's get started. Once we have our home page in desktop looking the way we want it, like we do here, it's time to move on to optimizing it for our other devices. And we've been working up here in this desktop mode for this entire time. Now you'll see we have a little, like a cell phone icon here. That's for mobile. You don't see the tablet here. That's because in our setting, we have not included the tablet version in our website settings yet. I want to show you how to configure this website for the devices that you want. Every website has a different purpose, so you really have to determine whether or not you're going to create 3 views for desktop, tablet, and mobile, or perhaps just a desktop and a mobile view. We're going to optimize all 3 versions so you know how to do it all. So we're going to come over here to settings, and we're going to add our tablet view into this website. To get into your settings, you're going to come here to the double gear, click there, and it says website settings. Click there, and you can see here right at the top it says tablet mode setting, and it's set to no. We're just going to click yes. Then we're going to save, but remember what I said in the beginning. Anytime you click that little save, it's a really good idea to come over here and click the big save. Just remember, save often. Now we've added tablet to the options that we have up here for the editor. And we can click on the tablet, and you can see it brings up something that looks very strange. You can see that we have all of our elements here, out here on the outside of our tablet, and we have this stack of anchors right here, but it certainly doesn't look like anything like we expected it to look like. But we've been working this whole time in the desktop mode. You could build this anchor page here for the tablet, and it could be different than what's on the desktop. We want our tablet view to look like our desktop view. So this wrench here, first of all, we're going to click on that. It brings up a card with lots of options for us, but we want to go over here to this one that has the red bar on it that says hot, copy desktop, because we want to copy the desktop version as closely as we can here on the tablet version. So we're going to click that, and you can see that places a lot of our elements in the page. Now we have some adjusting to do, but at least we have them in the right banners and in the right order. So let's get busy modifying this to look the way we want it to look. Now, right off the bat, we see that we have this blue square here, and that was that blue square that we use for spacing and some other things. So we're going to hide that. We also have our text box that has the header information on it. We're going to go ahead and hide that. We have our icons here that are very, very large. We have our logo, our anchor menu, our social media network bar, and we have these text boxes that contain the information. So the very first thing we're going to need to do is we need to take this top banner here, and we're going to pull it way down, just like that, because we're definitely going to need to make a larger header. So now that we've got our header a little bit larger, we can take our logo and make it a little smaller. We can place it in here. Let's just get it in the header. And then we also have a network bar that's going in this header. We're also bringing this in. Let's make this a little shorter. Bring this over, shorten the text box, it in, bring this in. So we have our menu, we have our logo. Let's put our logo up here. Our menu. We might have to make this a little bit bigger. If I can grab a hold of it, I need to move that menu so I can grab a hold of our little, let's make it a little bigger and move our anchor back up to the top so we can move this text box down. And we might have to change our mind about some of the way this is set up. We can always see, let's get some of our images in here. We know that our contact us icon here with this information. So let's move this over here. We'll try to get it as close to the same as we can. And then we had the hours of operation, so we can put that there. And this was the icon for that, so we can shrink that down to a reasonable size. This here, now we can shrink the location icon down. That one can be a little bit smaller. And once we get everything lined up there, we can perhaps move this over here. Sometimes the best things to do is just to play around with your design and see how you can make it work. Now I'm thinking we might put our information here, make our banner just a little longer, move our anchor menu back to the top. Let's move this down and center it. Now if we move our logo down a little bit, or we can make it smaller. Let's make our logo a little smaller. Yes, I think this is the better idea. Now make this just a little larger. I think we might have to make our social media bar a little bit smaller. So let's do that. Now, when we do that, it may change our social media bar on the desktop. So we'll have to check that out when we go back. So I'm going to right-click on the social media network bar and go to Edit. And we're just going to make this a little bit smaller. Let's see how that works. Confirm it and move it over just a little bit. Then we can move our menu up. We can make this logo just a bit larger. I think our icons could stand to be a little smaller. Now we can make our menu a little bit larger. We just want to use the space as wisely as we can. Move that down. Now we can shorten this just a bit. Ever mindful that we need to move our anchor point down. That doesn't look too bad, and it looks very similar to the header on our desktop. But before we save that, let's go back to the desktop because we want to make sure we haven't altered and changed things on our desktop header. So let's take a look. Well, we did move this a bit because we made it smaller, remember? But I don't think that spoils things too much. I think all we have to do is move it down. That looks pretty good. So let's save that. Now let's go back to tablet. Let's check and make sure that's the way we want it. Well, let's go ahead and save that now. Save again. Now that we've got the header done here, we can activate the next banner down and pull it up right there on that header. But since we're going to be working on this banner, let's just go ahead and pull this next banner down a bit. I'm going to try to clear that down, and we'll pull the anchor that goes with it down. As you can see, we have a little bit of adjusting to do here. Here's our button. First of all, let's work on this title text, and we definitely can expand our text box. So let's pull it up here to the top, grab our handle, and pull that all the way across the frame. That text still is very large, so we'll right-click. Now we don't want to edit the text because that would change it on the desktop version. So we'll customize this text. Instead, we come to customization here on the text card. It pulls up a text editor, and we have the chance here to resize this so we can take it all the way down. So let's get it at a reasonable size. Well, let's try maybe 48. Now, of course, we can also have some other options. Anything we do on this card will change the font on the tablet version, but it won't affect our desktop version. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and try that. We can close that. Next, we have this text box, so we can resize that, pull it up a bit, maybe pull this down a little bit now. And then our button, we can also just resize our button. Maybe the button would be best in the center on the tablet. We'll have to see. I want to move that up in just a little bit. And once we get everything looking the way we think we would like it to look, we're going to go back to desktop first, make sure we didn't alter anything on our desktop, but it looks good here. So we can go back to tablet, we can save and save again. Now the one thing that was different on the desktop was my button wasn't centered, but I don't know, I think I'll look at it this way. No, now the more I'm looking at it, I think I want it back over here. So now let's come down to this banner down here, and we're going to make sure we're on the banner and not the text box. There we have the banner. We can use the arrow to drag it right up. Let's scroll down and scroll up a bit so we can see. Now let's move this banner. Make sure we get this banner activated. Use the arrow and pull this down, because you can see we have a lot of text here. So we'll scroll down some more. Make sure we can see all of that. Now let's scroll back up and we'll begin to work on this banner. And we can see the banner ends right here, so we know we're definitely going to need some adjustments. But let's start with our title. So we'll activate it, right click, go to customization, and we can very quickly just resize. That looks pretty good. This doesn't look too bad. We might want to make it a little smaller. So let's right click, customization, and again, using the slider, we're going to just make it a bit smaller. That might be a little bit too small, so we'll change it from the 9 up to perhaps, oh, how about 11? That looks good. We can move that up a bit. We can move our picture up a bit. Here in this text box, we'll do the same thing. We'll right click, go to customization, use the slider. We'll see what we think will look good. How about, well, let's try 16. Might be a bit too small. I think 17 looks just about spot on, but I do want to move this down a little bit, so let's make it even with the other text boxes. Now let's move our anchor up to where it should be, right here at the top. Let's move our text up just a bit and get this all aligned and condensed. Now let's click on the banner, just the banner. I want to make sure that we have the right amount of space for the banner, and that looks pretty good. So we need to go to desktop, and that looks pretty good there. Go back to our tablet view, hit save, save again. Our next banner is the We Are Awesome at Our Work banner with the animated counters on it. And I think that if we make this a little longer, if we move this up a bit, let me move this up a little bit more. Now we can move this text box up a little bit more. Now remember, we have all of these in boxes. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I'm clicking on the outside box, make it larger, bring it down some, because I want to bring my labels down. One thing about these animated counters, there's no way to resize them without altering our desktop. So we need to make these work, or we'd have to create entirely new animated counters and hide these from our tablet view. So I'm just going to see if I can make these work. We're going to go ahead and make this text box a little longer. So I can move this label down, and then we'll make this invisible box longer, as well as this one. So now I want to align my boxes. So let's put our ruler on. We still have our ruler and our grid lines we can use. And I'll put this grid line at the top of this text box and move the others down to align with that one up. So now I have my labels lined up. The only thing I need to do is I'm going to have to move the 100% in some more because we've lost the percentage. So let's move this box in, and then we can move this box in. We want to be able to get it all the way in. So let's get it in first. Once we get the boxes spaced appropriately, now we need to really make sure we get them lined up. So we'll highlight one of these boxes, and I'm going to bring it right to the top here and make sure my boxes are aligned just where they need to be. Let's remove this grid line. I think we can move this in just a little bit, and let's move this down a little bit and align it right here. Let's see how that looks. I think that looks pretty good. Let's go to our desktop. Everything looks fine here, so we can return to the tablet. Let's scroll down. Let's grab this What We Do banner and pull it right on up. Use the arrow and make sure we have our anchor right where it needs to be. Higher. There we go. So really, in many ways, the editor did a really good job of formatting this for tablet. You can see we can easily come in here. We can customize the title text if we want to. How about 58? Let's just use 58 because we can also pull it up a little bit and get it right to the top. That looks pretty good. Maybe just a little bit smaller. So we'll go to customize and let's try about 54. Let's use 54. Got it at the top of our banner, our anchor, right to the top of the banner. Now remember when we worked on this and built this, we built two boxes holding a row. Let's move this banner down. Let's find our banner, the edge of our banner, and I think this is it. There's the end of our banner right there. Let's make it a little longer just so we know we're inside the banner. We want to make sure these boxes stay inside the banner and move with the banner. On our titles, it looks like we can change the titles under the images. Right click, customize. Let's just make those a little bit smaller so they fit on one line. It looks like 20 is good. I don't know, maybe we can go up a little bit more. We'll just use 21. So we'll customize all of these text boxes to the same size. Now let's right click these text boxes, customize the font on those. Well, let's first move that second row down. So we can activate this row, use the arrow, pull it down, and that was 17. So we'll do all the others at 17. Now we have all of our text customized the same. So we want to find the bottom of that first text box. Let's move our anchor back up here. It keeps wanting to sneak down on us. Well, I think that was it. There it is. So now we're going to pull this up, sure it's spaced nice. Now we can pull this down. And do you see the end of this box? We can click it. This is our banner, I think, because this is the second row box. Let's pull it down and make sure it has all the text that we need in it. Oops, there we go. So now I can activate the banner, and I'm going to be mindful about the space I have at the bottom and the top of the banner. I think I need a little bit more space. So that was pretty easy once we figured out what size font we needed to use. Let's take a look at it on the desktop view and make sure everything's fine there. I just saw that box line was way up there, so we're going to bring it down. There we go. That's better. Let's go check the desktop. Everything still looks good on the desktop. So we can go back to tablet, save again. Let's scroll down a bit and pull this banner up. It's nice and tight, and we'll pull our contact banner down. We'll start on this banner by customizing the text on our title. Customization, to about 44. That looks pretty good. The text box below it, customization for that. It's currently on 19. About 12. That looks pretty good. And our button, we can enlarge the width of our button. We want to get it all on one line, just a little bit wider. We'd like to avoid to make a new button if we can. And let's see how that looks. Perhaps we need to move it down a bit, and we can move this text box over some, shorten it a bit. Grab that handle and shorten it a bit. Now we can move this up a bit. That looks pretty good, and let's check our space at the top and the bottom. It looks good. We can go back to the desktop. Make sure we didn't change anything there. We shouldn't have. Still looks the same, so we can go back to the tablet, and now we can save the work on that banner. So we'll scroll down here to the Contact Us banner, bring it up, make sure it's tight against this banner. It doesn't look like we have a lot of work to do on this one, but let's scoot this one down, the location banner down just a tiny bit, along with its anchor point. We want to make sure we have that entire banner here in our site. So let's scroll down and really make sure. Yes. Okay. So the next thing we want to make sure we do is find the edge of our banner. Right here it is. See, I can scroll over it on the edge of the contact form and find it, click on it and activate it. Then I can use our little handle and make sure our contact form is entirely in that banner. Now let's come up to the title, customize it, right click, go to customization, and I think we need to shrink this just a bit. Well, let's take it down to 48. I think we did 48 at the one above, so let's use it. Click out of that. This second paragraph text box, let's go ahead and make it, activate it, customize it. There's 11. Let's see if we can make it a little larger. There's 13. Can we do 14? Yes, 14 looks good. So we'll leave it at 14. Our contact form looks fine. Now let's check the top margin of our banner, and we can bring it up just a tiny bit. That looks good. So let's check it out on desktop. Scroll down. We didn't alter anything, so we can go back to tablet. Let's save. Save again. Now we can move down to our location, and we'll bring that banner and make sure it's snug up against the one above it. We'll move our anchor point right up to the top of it. Customize our text location. We should probably use about 48, I think. We'll click out of that. We'll check the top of our banner and the bottom. It looks good. Let's check the desktop. Scroll down. Everything looks fine there. Click on the tablet and we'll save that banner. And now we can scroll down and bring our footer up. So we can bring it all the way up underneath our location banner. Let's go ahead and start by making the footer just a little wider. I guess we will have to bring this up a little bit to make it a little wider. And now we can start bringing our elements in to see what we're going to need to do to them. Now obviously we're going to have to make this considerably smaller, but remember, we don't have to keep everything on this banner. Maybe we won't even keep this on the banner. Let's definitely make this smaller, because we definitely want our fruit shop logo on there. The menu, let's see, we have a menu up at the top. Let's go ahead and just hide the menu. We have the social bar up at the top. We also have, what else do we have here? Oh, there's our information, which we have that up at the top. We also have titles, paragraphs, and we have the copyright information. We definitely want to keep our copyright information because people expect to see that on a website. So let's put that there. Let's bring our menu back down. Now we'll want to make this menu the same appearance as the one on the desktop. So we're going to go up to Appearance, change it to the same one we have on the desktop, the Fruit Shop Anchor menu. So now we can fit this in here. It just barely fit. Probably would be better off move this all the way to the top because we really don't need those titles. I'm going to move this out, move this over because I'm going to change the style of this footer considerably. Let's move that down here, this in the center, and we can move our menu onto one side, move our social media bars in here. I don't think we need this label that tells us this is a menu on our tablet. So let's hide it. Let's shorten the text box on the email subscription because we do want the email subscription on there. Now we can customize this and make it a little smaller, 28. Let's try 24. We can move our email subscription contact form. Maybe we want that down here. We can customize the text on it. This is the paragraph that we had underneath the logo. Customize this and let's take it down to 12 and see if it will fit in there nicely. Now let's get our information about our email subscription and customize it to 12. And we can shrink this just a bit, make it the same width as our contact form if we can. I think we'll hide this, and hide this, and hide this. All that information is available in the header. So now let's move this over here into the center. Maybe shrink it down a little bit. I want to keep the space between these three columns about the same. I think I'll customize this and even make it smaller. Yes, let's make that 10. I think we can go 11. That way I can put it all the way down here at the bottom, line it up with this paragraph, pull it down, and now we can probably make our logo a little larger. And you can see that a lot of this is just figuring out what you like, what's pleasing, and what kind of look you want to have. This can be brought down just a bit. I'm going to make this one smaller as well, the social media network bar. We'll check it on the desktop when we go back, but we're going to edit the size. Let's see if we can do that and confirm. Pull it down, and we can pull this down, pull this down, pull this down. And let's look at that. I think this title needs to go up a little bit. I got a little ahead of myself, and I actually think I'm going to make that text just a little bit smaller. Customization, and I think I'm going to take that down to 11. Yes, see how much better that is? Pull it down. Now let's check the desktop. Scroll right on down. Everything looks pretty good here. So we can go back to tablet. Let's pull this up all the way. Save. Save again. Let's scroll to the top and let's take a look at the tablet mode in preview. So now we're in preview mode for the tablet. And let's just scroll down here and check and make sure everything looks the way we want it to look. And it's looking very good so far. Yes, so we can return to edit. And next, we'll move on to the mobile. So we'll choose our cell phone icon. And as you can see, we have all of our items here yet to be placed on our page. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to rethink about what I'm going to put on my header for mobile. On mobile devices, you have such limited space. You really have to pick and choose wisely what you might put on your mobile versions and select that and really make sure it's very lean, only pertinent information, is very respectful of the user's service limitation. So if you keep that in mind as you're adapting your mobile perspective, it will make it a lot easier on you and your visitors. So we're going to remove some of the stuff in the header because, of course, our header is way too big. It's a full screen right now. Let's get rid of some of these things first of all. We're definitely going to put the logo in our header. So we'll drop it on that header banner. I don't think it's necessary to put all of this information in the header of our mobile. We can consider putting some of it in the footer, but this very first banner that our users will be seeing, let's right click, let's hide that, let's hide that, let's hide this icon too. We'll hide this text box, and this text box. Let's come down here and move our header up so we activate the header. You'll notice that it won't let you draw it up until you move these items. So let's think about whether or not we want to put the social network bar at the top of the bottom. We definitely need our menu. This is a burger menu. Get that in there. We can move this up and think about that. Let's move this up now. Our social media bar, let's hide that for now. We have one in the bottom, and I don't want to clutter the top header on the mobile with too much information. That's the first thing that people want to see, and I want them to move down onto the page and really get to the content I'm sharing. Here's our blue box, and we can hide that, of course. We don't need it any longer. Let's hide this text we no longer need. Let's move our anchors up here and get them out of the way right now. To configure our menu in mobile, which needs to be a burger menu, because a burger menu is a universally recognized icon that contains the links that we put in our original menu. It's just condensed, universally recognized by users, so it saves a lot of space on mobile devices. Let's go ahead and put that menu right into our header, expand it, and you can see it has this white background on it. We still have a lot of adjustments to do to really get that to look appropriately on our page. We're going to right click. We want to change the appearance on our menu, but before I do that, I want to make sure that I am working on the right menu, our fruit shop menu. So let's go over there and click on appearance, and let's just confirm that we're working on our fruit shop anchor menu. Select it, and now we can come back here, right click, and we're going to go to edit devices. This brings up your configuration for a device card. We're going to select mobile. The very first thing you need to do is to check this box, enable burger menu. Otherwise, the system doesn't have permission to condense those links that we customized in our fruit shop menu into a burger menu. So be sure you click there. We're going to come down, select the type of burger menu. We have normal, expandable, and Apple style. Let's just keep it on normal. We're going to make this very simple. Click this drop down menu, and you can, there's several different styles. We have a default style. That's that typical 3 bars that you often see as menus. We have what's called a blue naked, which means that you just have this common icon in blue. We're going to come down here and choose white alternative transparent background. So choose that. If you'll notice up here, even if I confirm it, now we have the menu. The icon itself is obviously in white. We can't see it, but our background is still white. To solve that problem and put it on a transparent background, we're going to right click, come down to our edit devices, and here it says style settings. So let's click that. Right here it says background. We're going to have to remove that color. Inner background, we're just going to remove these colors. Click confirm again. It removes our background color. We now have our burger menu right here in our header in white. Let's shorten this box a bit, pull it back into our header, right click it, center the element, and our menu is now in our header. I purposely want to keep my header really lean and clean on the mobile version. That's the choice I'm making because I want my user to be immediately drawn into my content. So now we have our menu in our header. Let's go ahead and hide our social media bar just for the moment. I'm going to right click and hide that. The next thing I want to do is shorten this header. I'm going to click up, bring it up. If you'll notice, it brings our blue box right up with it. We don't need that blue box. We're going to right click and we're going to hide it. Let's scroll down here. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Now I do have the option here of using my wrench and allowing the system to continue to modify our pages for mobile. So I'm going to click this, copy desktop. Let's begin to sort some of this out now. You can see here's our second banner. Here's our About Us section. I'm going to click on that banner. Let's move our button out here and give us a little room. Let's customize our title text. So I'm going to right click, go to customization. That might be a little bit too small. Let's try 17. Extend the text box. That looks better. Now we'll do this text box. Right click, go to customization, adjust this font. We can take it down to a reasonable size with a slider and then fine tune it to whatever size we want. Now we have the button, so let's extend our button. We want it on one line. Let's right click, go to appearance. Now we're going to look for the text size on the mobile. So here's your font on mobile. Click there, and I'm going to reduce that. 20 looks good. So now I can resize this and we can move it right into our banner. I think I'll extend this to make this just 2 lines. Yes. Our button on the banner. I'll move this anchor back down on the banner. Now let's take a look at the desktop and make sure we didn't move anything around on the desktop on this top banner. Everything looks good so far. Let's check the tablet. It looks good on the tablet too. So we can come back here to mobile. Let's move our next banner up a little bit by grabbing the arrow snugly against the banner above it. Now we're going to try to grab that next banner down. Let's push all those banners down this way and then just move the top one up. Sometimes it can be difficult on the mobile to grab the banners until you adjust your text. So you just have to kind of figure out a way to get a hold of the right banner. Let's adjust this text first, bring it down. Now that size, that's 8, that doesn't look too bad. That might be something we can work with. Let's customize our title now. We can adjust with the slider to get it somewhat reasonable and then adjust it over here. I'm thinking 14 looks really good. And we have this text box down here. Let's customize it. Right click and we'll take it down to 7. Close this text box. Now we can adjust our title. Can you see your banner line there below those text boxes? You always want to make sure that the entirety of your text boxes and images and other elements remain within the boundaries of the banner. It's really important because that's what stabilizes the view really. So I'm going to move this text box over just a little bit wider, and then we can shorten that and move this up a bit. I think I'll make the image just a bit smaller. I need to make this a little smaller, our title. So let's go back in and adjust this. I think 11 will work. Then I can move this text box next to it. Of course, we want to be mindful of the space on our banner. So there's our second banner. Let's find the anchor point. Here it is down here. We'll put it in place. Now we can scroll down, grab a hold of this banner. I'm going to try to grab the banner and just pull it up away from the other banners just to leave some space down here for working. Now this banner, let's talk about this banner. This banner it's a beautiful banner. It's very eye-catching. It has a lot of eye appeal. We don't have an anchor point. We don't have a call to action. We don't have any information that is absolutely necessary for our visitors. Rather than completely remaking this banner, because we'd have to recreate our boxes entirely and make separate versions for the mobile. So I think we're just going to hide this entire banner. Now we can move our anchor point, activate the next banner down, and we'll use the arrow to bring it up because I don't want to leave all my banners all the way down. I can activate our red banner and push down much easier than I could on the others. So now we have the full view of our next banner, and everything's in place. All we really have to do is get our text properly customized. So let's start up here at the title. 20 looks good to me. One thing I want you to notice here, you can see our boxes on our banners are overlapped as well. And we have a box right here. See our arrow? We're going to move that second box down. So we grab our titles. We're customizing our titles now. Let's see what will work best for them. Oh, I think I grabbed my paragraph. All right, I think I've got the title now. Make sure you have the right box. Customize the titles. Oh, I still have the box. Now let me grab my titles. We're going to move that text box down now, just so I can get to my title. I'm going to come in here and move this banner down all the way. Select my title text. It's at 22 right now, so let's get that all on one line. But we can make it a little wider. There we go. If we make the titles wider, customize them to 10, move that up right up underneath the image. One thing we can do, we can bold them, and sometimes you want to make them bolder on the mobile just to make it easier to read. So I'm going to see what that's like. Yeah, I think I like that bolded. And we can close out of that. We widen our text box on the titles and set them to 10. And you see our first box for that invisible box. I'm going to move it down so I can move my text box right in there. This is tedious work at times, but it makes such a big difference if you take your time now. So let's go ahead and customize this larger text here. Grab that invisible text box if we can, and our title. Move this over a bit just so we can move that box down. Now we can get to our title, make it bold, put our text box right back in there. Third text box below it. Move this text box out, elongate our invisible box, make it bold. Let's remember to make this text box a little wider. And so we have our first row. Let's go ahead and bring up our second row now and do the same. I think it's easier to customize that big paragraph at the bottom. Move it out a bit. Now we're going to need to increase our invisible text box for the individual, but let's also increase the text box all the way down and make sure we get it below the first invisible text box. So I have that first big text box outside the banner here at the moment, but it makes it really easy to do that. So now I can grab it, pull it in, pull it right up to where I want it. This is our big banner, so we're going to make that very long. Let's find this text box and we'll pull it up with our arrow right up underneath that one. Again, it might be easier just for us. Let's just pull this out and set our box there. Pull down our invisible box. Now we can pull down our big box, reset this to 10, make it bold, this down and out. Find our invisible box, make our text wider, customize it, make it bold, close that, customize this text, bring it back in, drop it in that invisible box, pull it up to the label, and then we can pull our invisible box up. We'll do the same here. Now we can shorten this invisible box and move it. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one. Make sure we're grabbing our we need to bring those invisible boxes inside our big invisible box. We have it all highlighted here. Move it back in here. Use our arrow to pull it up. Our banner is sitting nicely around that. That looks pretty good here. I think we can move it up. So let's find the top of that banner and move it up. Now let's check our tablet and our desktop. Here's the desktop, and scroll down on that page. Make sure we didn't mess anything up. No, that looks good. Let's check tablet. That looks fine. So head back to mobile, and we'll move down to this banner. So I'm going to push the contact banner down. We'll move this banner right up. We'll start by customizing our title text. 17 fits nicely. Let's adjust our button. Let's re-evaluate this banner. Make it a little wider. We don't want to change our button. I think if we just move our text box, shorten this text box just a tad, position it right there. That banner's done. We'll come down here to the contact banner, grab my arrow. We'll start with the title. Let's move our location banner down so we can enlarge this banner. Bring my form out for a moment. I'm going to right click and customize our paragraph. First of all, let's take it from one edge of the screen to the other. Now we can customize it. 9 looks good. Now we can move our form in. And I want to make it wider. That looks good. Let's go back to the desktop and tablet view. Looks fine there. And how about on tablet? Check the tablet. Go back to mobile. Now we can, all the way down here, move our footer down. Let's customize our location banner now. All we have to do is really customize at the title. We'll take it down to 20 because that's what we used on the other banner. Our map is centered, so that's done. Now we can bring up our footer. I want to check on the desktop just to make sure the tablet looks good, except it looks like on our tablet version our footer's fallen a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and save it. That saves the work that I just did on the tablet version. So we'll go back to mobile. And again, we want to keep in mind the subscription form right up at the top. The text looks fine at that font level. I'm going to move our form right up here. Well, we need our paragraph. This is our paragraph that explains about the newsletter. So we'll put it in there. Next, let's put our contact information, but we don't need this label. We definitely want to include all of our information because it's very important for GDPR reasons and legal reasons for people to be able to get in touch with you. Let's put our hours. There's our contact information. I don't want this extra paragraph, so I'm going to hide that. Let's put our social media bar right below our contact information and our copyright information below that. Now let's tackle the footer. I want to reiterate that we're going to make some decisions here about what content goes into the footer of a mobile device. We have eliminated some of the header information from our desktop in our mobile header, so we'll definitely want to include that information on our footer. So let's look at these items and make some decisions. We're definitely going to want to have our logo in our footer. So let's just go ahead and put that in the footer. This is the paragraph that describes about the fruit shop business. I don't know that we necessarily need to have that on our footer in the mobile, so I'm going to hide it. We definitely want our opt-in form for our email marketing because we want people to act and join our mailing list. So I want to put it up high in this footer, if possible, because I want them to see it and then act right away. So we'll put that inside. Here is the paragraph describing our newsletter, so we can put that in there. Let's move this down a bit. And let's put our title. I've elected to put the email subscription form at the top of our footer. And let me tell you why. As a visitor is experiencing the site, as they move down the page, I want them to see the email subscription form before they leave the page. And I want it seen right away. So I'm going to put it at the top of the footer. So let's center these items, and we can stretch the elements out and then right click and center the element. So we can center that element, center this element, and our email subscription form will center. I think I want the logo next, so we'll put that down there. And now I want to add our menu because I want it to be readily available. Let's talk about some of these other items. The Contact Us form and the menu, these labels, I think we can eliminate those. So we'll hide them. Remember, you want to hide them, you don't delete them. Now our hours of operation, our address, and our contact information, we definitely need those in our footer for legal reasons. It's important for GDPR. We want our customers, our clients, and our visitors to be able to get a hold of us. So let's put our hours and then our address and definitely our contact information. Once we get our contact information, our address, and our hours of operation aligned properly, we can then add our social media bar below it, I think. Center that element and then move up our copyright information, position it, and I think that looks pretty good. We have the email subscription form, our logo, a menu to navigate, all the information we need, our social media bar, and our copyright. Let's go ahead and pull our footer up, take a look at it. Let's check it out on desktop. Our menu seems to have changed a bit, so let's edit this menu type, put our alignment on that menu back the way it was. Probably what happened as we adjusted the menu on our mobile devices, we just needed to go back and reset and save that again. So we're going to save on the desktop, save again. Let's check our tablet. Everything looks fine here on the tablet. So we can go back to mobile. Looks good here. Let's take a look as we go up. Let's make sure all of our anchor points are where we want them. We have the About Us right here at the About Us. We have services here at what we do. We have our Contact Us right at the contact banner. We also have our location at the map. I think we can pull it down there just a bit. Everything looks great. So we're ready to save this mobile version and save again. Now let's look at our mobile version in preview mode. We need to pull down our footer just a bit. So we're going to go back, and I notice we need to hide our header social media bar. So we'll do that. Let's hide this one. Let's come back down here and make sure we elongate that footer. There we go. Let's pull our page down till we have all of our information on it, just a bit, right to about there, I think. One thing I noticed, I think I want to change. If you notice here in our footer, we have the logo and our burger menu right to the right. I want to mimic that up at the top. So I'm going to move our logo over. I'm going to bring our burger menu in the header up, shorten it a bit and center it to mimic what I have down here in the footer. I think that might need to be just a bit lower. Let's move this over a bit and make our image a little bit larger. And I think that looks much better. It gives more coherence to our look. Save it again. Let's check to see if that fixed that in the preview mode. And we've got everything looking the way we want it. Well done. We had a jam-packed full training video today. We learned all about adjusting websites for mobile devices. We customized our Fruit Shop website for tablet. We also learned all about burger menus and created a burger menu for our mobile view, and then customized the Fruit Shop website for mobile. I hope you learned a lot. I'm glad you stuck in there with me, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.